What is going on, you crackers and crackheads? How are y'all doing today? This is Malty from the Maltyverse, and I guess normally Mouth of Malty. But this is my first time doing this solo. I normally have had a group with me for the last year, but now that I'm doing things solo, everything falls on me. So all of the failures fall on me as well. If anybody does show up, feel free to say anything you want in the chat. There are a couple of things that YouTube doesn't want you to say, but at least with me, pretty much everything is fair game, and I'm just going to be hanging out, making some jokes. Figured it might be the best way of doing this kind of stuff because I have 2 videos that I have to talk about. So here we are. And here we go. How are y'all doing today? I hope you're doing well. But if you're not, trust me, there's hope out there. You know what there's not hope for, though? There's not hope for me finding the tabs that I want to share. There's not hope for Elio that has just come out. The box office, How to Train Your Dragon rules again as Elio heads for lowest opening in Pixar history, which is not saying very much because ever since John Lasseter left, Pixar has not had a very good track record. They had one little blip with Inside Out 2, but other than that, they really haven't done anything. Elio looks to debut in 3rd place behind the live-action Dragon pick and Danny Boyle's zombie sequel 28 years later, which is opening in 2nd place with a solid $30 million or more. Now, will 28 months later, is that months? 28 years later, sorry. They skipped the months part. That's why it's in my brain so much because I was making that joke all day. So it has already come out. We've had a whole lot of people talk about it and it's very mixed reviews. So will it have a hold? It doesn't matter at this point because Elio is not coming out to great numbers whatsoever. And we'll go into their budget as well. Don't worry about that. Ouchie. Universal's live action How to Train Your Dragon will have no trouble staying number 1 in its 2nd weekend with an estimated $35.7 million, despite the entry of the zombie sequel 28 years later and Elio coming out. But the thing is, like, Elio wasn't really marketed very well at all. It's just, yeah, it's Pixar. You know all the other Pixar stuff that you like? Well, here's another Pixar thing. That's basically the only thing they did. The production cost is way more, and we'll get into that, which is headed for the lowest opening in the history of Pixar amid a crowded marketplace for family fare. Now, Danny Boyle's zombie sequel is like, well, it already topped Friday with 14 million. 5.8 in Thursday previews. So, like, it's getting a strong start, but will it have a hold? That's really the question that we have to ask about this. All right. So, to juxtapose that, will Elio have a hold? Because what was that one? Elemental did not start off strong as well. However, it had a hold that lasted for like 2 months. I don't think this is going to happen with Elio because as soon as we get into July, that roster is stocked. It is stacked and stocked in the box office. So I think this is dead on arrival. A few weeks ago, 28 years later, was tracking to open to 35, with a more bullish pundits thinking that it could come in north of 40. But what it actually hit was around a solid 30, or a solid 26, 30. Elio was supposed to come out around the same time. It was tracking for around 35 million. It's not even coming close. It took in 9 million on Friday. For some reason, they didn't do Thursday previews. But on Friday, which was yesterday, a projected 3rd place domestic opening in the 20 to 22 million range. And that is terrible. And there's a reason why this is absolutely terrible. We will come back to this article, but there's just something I have to show you whenever it comes to this. Now, gee whiz. The Elio movie budget, and yes, this is an AI answer. The production budget, because it has been reported across many things, and until they file their taxes, we're not actually going to see the true production budget. Nearly $300 million. So if it's starting out on its opening weekend before the July rush comes in, at $20 million. What are we doing here, guys? What are we doing? The answer to that riddle is that they ain't doing nothing. Alan Ng from Film Threat has already come out. He came out one of the first ones that I saw, and I didn't read his article, but I just saw one of his Twitter posts. Is like, yeah, this is not good. And everything that I've heard from people who have seen it, they've basically just said, like, this is a TV show. This is a cartoon. This isn't a film. Now, we could have known that from, I don't know, the history of Pixar after John Lasseter was basically booted out. We could have seen that, or at least predicted it. But that's not what's going on right now. Let's go back into the other article and share some more stuff. But with interest stalling in recent days, Disney insiders lowered their projections to 20 million. We talked about that. So now that you have this, and then I've already brought up Elemental, that was nothing short of a debacle, because I have already said that already. It didn't start out very well, but it had a hold. You know why it had a hold? Because it didn't have anything for months to compete against. Yes, we're hitting vacation season, where everyone's going to be out of the house. And yeah, they'll be taking their kids to do stuff. But when you have like dinosaurs coming out, when you have 2 superhero movies coming out, there will be other things that have way more hype and have done a very better job of marketing their stuff, even if it's bull crap. And we will see the holds on them as well. But Pixar and Disney reverse course and are once again committed to telling original theatrical stories, mixed in with known IPs such as last year's blockbuster and record-shattering Inside Out 2. And this is, all right, I have an axe to grind with this. My axe to grind with this is that whenever they try to promote new stuff, all they do is like, it's member berries. Well, you remember this one that you really liked? Well, this is from the same studio. It's like, yeah, hold on. That may work for normies. But for people who pay attention to this stuff, what we do remember is flop after flop after flop for almost a decade now. So are we really interested in any of this? And then we see the trailers, we see the animation, which like Pixar everything looks the same. What is that Bean movie where he's supposed to be a spy? And some guy worked like 8 to 10 years on it. And he did it all by himself. So like, congratulations to him. But it was like Killer Bean. Is that what it's called? I think it's called Killer Bean. That's what the animation looks like. Pixar has looked like this for a long time. And the thing with Pixar nowadays is that the characters themselves are not very differentiated from anything. They don't tug at your heartstrings. They don't make you actually think about stuff. They're just, this is there, and there's some colors. And the mouth is always in that stupid ass grin with gaps between their teeth. Is like, why not put one of them in braces? Oh, they did that in Inside Out. Oops. One of the ones that was actually it wasn't Inside Out, was it? Oh, golly, I'm thinking about Finding Nemo. Oh, back when John Lasseter was there. So my point remains true. You got to make every character look different. Pixar hasn't done that in a long time. The live action Lilo and Stitch, which is doing great. Last time I checked, which has been 2 days, so I'm sure it's probably over $1 billion now, was over $900 million. Remains a force to be reckoned with its 5th weekend and could earn as much as 9 to 10 million domestically. Not even talking about what's going on internationally. And so you have it. You got it all right there. What's up, Sergeant General Tina? Thank you for coming out, brother. So there you have it right there. Pixar can't be anything original because there are no original people there anymore. And that's the problem with all this kind of stuff. You're going to spend $300 million just in production costs. Now, we know there's not very much of a marketing cost or an advertising cost. Basically one and the same. Because we haven't seen anything about it. That's how you get people into the theaters. I know it's popcorn buckets nowadays and all that other kind of bullcrap, but you don't really see that much anymore. And you're not seeing this with Disney Pixar because Disney, low-key, other than Toy Story, wants Pixar to completely fall off the map. They are dead weight. Bob Iger knows this. He's just looking for something else to buy so he can ruin that. And that's where we're going to leave this video right now.